Hello Internet, welcome to the Collective Arcana, a channel all about tabletop gaming. Today I'm going to walk you through some tips and tricks for the Jester miniature. She's kind of famous for her bumblebee stung face, which I mentioned in our unboxing video. So while I was working on this mini, I had some equipment changes, so some sections will be voiceover and some won't be. And I'm gonna try to get the hang of painting on camera, but I didn't actually get the camera for it until toward the end of the video. So I did give that a shot at the end of the video there if you want to see the actual process. Otherwise, it's just going to be our standard tips and tricks. So let's get started. As with any mini, I'm going to start out with the prep. The first thing I'll do is get my milliput ready. I'll use this to fill in any gaps or spaces that just don't look good. I've talked about milliput a ton on this channel already, but it's sandable once it's cured and paintable, and it's really kind of important to have if you're going to be working on miniatures. A lot of people use green stuff, and I believe it's about the same thing, but I haven't actually used green stuff. I'm pretty happy with milliput, and I don't really see any reason to switch, to be honest. But anyway, the first big part I noticed on this one was her arm. On mine specifically, I don't know if they all look like this, but it's almost as if her arm maybe wasn't attached and they glued it on or something like that, and it was the plastics on it's really rough, and there's a big gap and it's almost glued in crooked. So I'm gonna do a little repairing here on her arm and see if I can get it looking somewhat normal. I think between sanding it down and maybe connecting it with milliput, I can get away with it not looking completely crooked. But the way it is now, it's on there pretty crooked. I'm just using a sculpting tool that I had handy. You can also use a toothpick or something like that to help work it into its space. In between using that tool and some water, you can work it in there without having to sand it at all. I also used this Q-tip that I found in the model train section of the hobby store, and it's just a really fine tip Q-tip. I think you can also get this in the makeup section of some stores, but I use that to help smooth out as well. You could probably just use your toothpick with maybe even some paper towel on it or something like that. So you can see it's not perfect. You can see it's still a little crooked, but I think once we get some paint on there, it won't be so noticeable. And as always, the next step, I'm just going to remove some flash lines. Just have a sharp X-Acto knife and just kind of peel them away. You don't really need a file. You can do it with just the X-Acto knife. But I think the file helps clean it up a little bit. The files I use are for jewelry making, and I got them for $10, I think, for the whole set, and I use them all the time. So I think they're worth investing in a little set of if you're going to be working on minis. Especially the Critical Role minis that need so much prep work. The next thing I want to do is to prime the mini. This helps the paint stick better. It makes the color a little more consistent. I don't know that I would have used black if I had other options. I just don't have any other color right now. I'll probably do a lot of gray primer going forward once I order some. But this is a step that you're not going to want to skip, especially if you have metal minis. I find that it's really hard to get regular paint to stick to metal minis, so the primer is kind of needed. And I'll put a link down to the one that I use. Okay, so I've got her primed. I've got her flash lines cleaned up. I filled in her arm gap. I'm not gonna lie, I tried to sand her cheeks down a little bit. Didn't really make a big difference. If I was able to get one of these really easily, I would probably completely Dremel her face almost completely away and resculpt it. But because I can't just go to the store and get a new one, I don't want to take any crazy risks. Her nose it looks really big from the front, but if you look on the side, Like, it's just not there. It goes straight into her chin, almost. So, I don't know. We're going to try some contouring and stuff, but it's going to be interesting. I'm mostly concerned about her eyes because they're so squinty. I don't know, maybe I'm not seeing it clearly or something. Well, from this angle, it kind of looks like she has an eyeball. So I'm going to start with her eyes. I always start with the eyes because you can get sloppy with it and then you can clean it up with the skin tone after. So I always do that first, no matter what kind of mini it is, even if it's a great sculpt. Okay, so first let's just find her eyes. I found her eyeballs! They look a little funny right now. Hopefully they'll look better as I finish her face, but I'm just happy I found them at all, to be honest. It took a couple of tries. I don't even know if that's really where they are, but I'm going with it. Okay, so I neatened up the edges of her eyes a little bit, kind of took them down from where I had them. And next we're going to start adding some contouring and seeing what we can do to save this miniature's face. So this is not the blue that I'm actually going to make her. This is just the very base coat. And I'm basically just going to build up highlights from here. So I'm going to go work off of the actual official artwork and try to aim for that color of blue. And it's a pretty light blue. So, I mean, this color that's on here now is not going to show through very much. But it's good for the shadows and stuff like that. So that's why I chose it for the base color. So I think for this color, it's just a light blue, maybe just the tiniest bit of a purple to it. Just very, very, very faint purple. So I'm just gonna do these colors first for the kind of purpley tint. This blue is actually, I use this blue in Percy's coat, except I'm going to change it up because I'm adding purple and I'm going to add some white to it, maybe the light blue. We'll see. Let's just play around till we get a color we're really happy with. So the purple's not very noticeable, but it does make a difference. It's just like in the actual art, like there's just the littlest tint to it, and it's not really that obvious unless you're looking for it. I think I'm going to actually add white. I was going to add light blue, but I think I'm actually going to add white and even a little gray. Let's see how the gray looks first. Oh. That's probably too much purple. Let's find out. Okay, I think this is good. I know it looks really gray, but this is a mid-tone. I'm going to build on top of it, and it's going to get more blue and bright as I go, and then I'll probably do some kind of wash. But I think as a mid-tone, this is probably gonna work out. I gotta admit, this is going better than I expected. I'm actually having less trouble with her face than I did with Keelan's face. I was able to contour her cheeks a little bit. I don't know if it'll show because the light is like shining. But I'm happy with how this is. I really didn't think this was gonna go this way. I really thought she would just look like a chipmunk with really squinty eyes, and I don't know, maybe I didn't give the sculpt enough credit. But this is the mid-tone. You can see she's still a little dark, so if you're not sure where to put the highlights and the shadows and stuff like that, I highly recommend just go on over to Pinterest and go find a tutorial or just a picture on how to highlight and contour with makeup, like on your face. If you're somebody who doesn't wear makeup, that might be a weird thing to search for, but it's exactly what you need to do on miniatures too. you will follow those same lines. You can see exactly what parts need to be light, what parts need to be dark. And with Jester, just take that to the extreme. She's so tiny that, you know, it'll really you can kind of do it more extreme with her. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I have these midtones here, but I'm really gonna put a lot of contrast with the highlights. So let's see how that goes. And I do apologize for not painting on camera. It's so hard. I need to find a good setup. Maybe like put the tripod behind me or something. I'll have to rig something up because it's just my hands get in the way. But I'm gonna do that now and I will come back. Okay, so she's far from perfect, and I'm sure some other people did a better job. But I'm still really happy she has eyeballs at all, and she still looks better than what I was expecting. I do think that once she's completely painted and all of the little tiny details and colors and all that stuff is in there, you know, maybe it won't be so noticeable, and you know, the eye will be so busy looking at all the other things that hopefully her face won't stand out too much. But yeah, her face is not symmetrical. It's almost like this eye is on her cheek or something, and that's just where it was. I don't know that I could do a ton with that. I did my best, but it is a pretty funky sculpt, so still I think it's going to be fine. I think overall it's better than what I thought it was going to come out like. I didn't think I was actually going to get any kind of pupils or anything like that at all, so I'm pretty happy. I know she doesn't look great, but I'm still happy. Just to show you really fast, this was the mid-tone blue, and then this is where I lightened it, so this is what I highlighted with. So hopefully that'll help with the color scheme a little bit. Okay, so painting on camera was as hard as I expected. So I'll get better with practice. But until then, I'm just going to do a little voiceover with the tips and tricks that I wanted to tell you guys about while this plays. So for the cape, or for the the white section, light colors are always a little tricky. And with her, I was referencing the artwork, and it's not bright white, and it almost looks like it might be like a sort of transparent gauzy material. So what I did was I painted it white, and then I washed it with a tan, like a fleshy tan color. And then after, at the very end, I ended up hand painting, which I wasn't going to do, but I ended up hand painting the little pink details on. And I washed it one more time because I wanted to tie in that pink so it wouldn't stand out. It looks like it's actually in the fabric. So that's something to consider doing. You know, for the teal part, the turquoisey teal part of her cape on her shoulders, that was pretty straightforward. I just mixed like a turquoise color, and I think I toned it down with some gray, and then I did like a black wash over it, and it kind of gave me the color I was going for. And then you'll see me fight with the leathers of her dress. It's always kind of a struggle to separate them, but she also has like red and purple braided into one of her belts, and so I tried a couple of things, and it was just kind of getting muddied together. What ended up helping was using just straight black to break up the two belts and kind of outline them, and it made them pop a lot more. Her boots are really textured, so I just really had to paint those, dry brush them, and wash them with black. As always, I did the silver parts very last so that I wouldn't lose any of the metallic to it. She just has a couple of things like on her belt. The rest of her is pretty straightforward. It was really just her face I wanted to do the main part of the tutorial about, kind of talk about how to color and contour and all that stuff. So otherwise, I'm just following the artwork as far as the colors go. I know a lot of people were stressed out about this miniature, and a lot of people are waiting to do her last, and I kind of wanted to get her over with. But she ended up being more fun and less stressful than Keyleth somehow. So that's Jester for you, I guess. I hope this video at least helped you with some, maybe some issues you got stuck on. If not, just let me know. Maybe I can help you out. She didn't come out perfect, but I think considering what I was working with, I'm pretty happy with the end result. I'm still just excited she has eyeballs. So I hope you enjoy. If you just want to keep watching, that's cool. Otherwise, I hope you'll give us a like and a subscribe if you enjoy the content on this channel. It helps us out a lot since we're so new. So any help is much appreciated. Stay tuned because I believe I'm doing a dragon painting tutorial next. So until then, we'll see you next time. Enjoy!